Okay, so before moving on to the next step in slope, which is learning slope-intercept form, the formula, the main formula that we're going to use for all linear equations, I felt like it was very, very important for you guys to learn how to convert from standard to slope-intercept form first. Okay, this is going to be page 34 in your notebook, in your binder. Ugh. Anyway, so standard form is where you have x and y on the same side of the equation. A is your coefficient. It's just A, B, and C, they're just numbers. So A is a coefficient, B is also a coefficient, C would be your constant. So our goal today is going to be to go from standard form to slope-intercept form. Now, this is something that we actually practiced with literal equations, but today you're actually going to have plenty of practice. So whatever literal equation they throw at you on the STAR test, hopefully it's one like this, you'll be able to work it out. And this is something that you will see the rest of the year. So it's very, very important that you catch on how to do this. Okay, this is actually one of the few things I cannot teach you how to do in the calculator. So it's very important that you know that you learn how to do it. Okay. So starting with, or let's go over slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is the formula to be able to find slope. You can also use it to find the y-intercept. But anyway, you guys have recognized this variable. That variable m represents the slope, and that is a coefficient, okay? Whenever I ask you, whenever I ask students what the slope is, and they're giving me the slope from an equation, and they say, for example, this is the equation, right? I'll ask them what is slope. They'll try to give me 2x, which is wrong because the slope is only the number in front. Slope is 2, not 2x. X is not part of the slope, okay? And the y-intercept is b. One moment. Okay, so the steps in going from standard to slope-intercept form are laid out right here. 4 simple steps. First thing you want to do is that you want to move the x term by adding or subtracting. Okay, to both sides of the equation. Remember, just because it's like solving an equation, just because you move something to the other side doesn't mean it disappears. Okay, so we're going to go from plus to minus. These are going to cancel out. You bring down your negative 2y, make sure you're always double checking. And what happens here? We talked about it with literal equations. This term has an x, this term does not. So that means 6 and 3x are not like terms. They are not like terms. So we can't combine them. We can't put negative 6 minus 3 is negative 9. Okay. Now, because we want the x to be in the front of the equation, we bring the 3x down first and move this negative 6 down to the side. Okay. It's not wrong to bring the negative 6 and then minus 3x, but a lot of students, if they don't bring down this 3x first and then move the constant down to the side, then they'll end up getting mixed up on which one is the slope. You always, your slope is always going to be that coefficient of x. Your y-intercept is always going to be in the form of a constant. Okay. So from there, you want to rewrite your equation with the x term in front of the right side of the equation. Double check for negatives. Double check for those negatives or your minus signs, okay? Then from there, the last step is going to be to divide each term, very, very, very important, divide each term by the coefficient of y, aka the number in front of y. So we're going to divide by that negative 2. And remember, when we divide and when we're solving equations, you do not change to a positive, okay? You only do that when you're going from plus to minus or minus to plus. So these will cancel out. You're left with y by itself. Notice how it creates two fractions here on this right side of the equation. You want to go ahead and type in each fraction into your calculator. So if I type in -3 divided by -2 into my calculator, notice it just turns it positive. The other fraction that we have is -6 divided by -2, and that gives us a +3, okay? So this -3 over -2 turns into a +3/2. -6 over -2 turns into a positive whole number 3, so +3. So make sure you simplify or reduce all fractions. Check for negatives. Use alpha x to type your fractions in and always check for negatives. Make sure you're putting in both negatives if both numbers have a negative, because it'll either change it to a positive or it'll keep it as a negative, okay? So let's practice. First thing we're going to do is we're going to move our x term. Our x term is positive. The opposite of plus is minus. Okay, you bring down the y. These do not combine because this term has an x, this term is just a constant. But you always bring down the x term first and move the constant to the side. The constant is positive, so you connect it with the plus sign, and you have solved for y. Okay? You have converted from standard to slope-intercept form. You have converted an equation from where x and y are on the same side to where it's just y equals. And that allows us to put this equation into our calculator so we can see the graph. And so we can recognize that that -2 is a slope and that 5 is the y-intercept. But today, the focus is knowing how to go from here to here, okay? So let's do that with the next one. Move the x term. X term is minus, changes to plus. Bring down your y. Bring down the x term first, constant to the side. And you are done. Okay? Solving for y, converting from standard to slope-intercept form is something you're going to see a whole lot the rest of the semester. Okay? Now, notice we have y by itself. X is already on this side. Technically, though, in case you didn't notice or in case you didn't see it, there is a -1 there. So what do we need to do? Divide. And when you divide, make sure you divide by each term. 4 divided by -1 gives us -4. 7 divided by -1 gives us -7. A mistake that students make whenever they're first learning how to do this is that they tend to leave that x behind. So make sure you're including that x, okay? Number 4. Only thing we need to do is divide by -2. So we get y equals 6 divided by -2 is -3x. 12 divided by 2, -6. Turn the page. These steps are very, very repetitive. So for that reason, we don't have a lot of notes, but you are going to have several practice problems to work on, okay? Don't get so caught up in seeing that minus sign. Remember, sign goes in front, so this one's actually positive and a plus changes to a minus. And solving for y, most of the time, is going to be a two-step equation. You move the x divided by the coefficient of y. Move the x, divide by the coefficient of y. That 12 is positive. I connect it with the plus sign. Last step is to divide. So you get y equals 3 over 5x, and then 12 divided by -5. I believe that one does not simplify, but just in case, yeah, minus 12 over 5. Okay. Number 6. First step, you want to move the x term. X term is negative, minus changes to plus. Bring down your 2y. Don't forget to recognize that there is that minus sign, so negative 2y. Bring down your x term first, and your 18 to the side. 18 is positive, connected with the plus sign. Last step, divide. Add or subtract, then divide. Add or subtract, then divide. 7 over 2 does not simplify, but 18 divided by negative 2, negative 9. When students get the assignment for this one, I tend to see a lot of rushing because where we're missing points and stuff is those negatives. And I do take points off for that. So make sure you're being careful. Minus x changes to a plus x. I bring down my y. I recognize that there is a minus sign on it, so making that a negative 1. X comes down first. There's a minus 16, so I don't need to put a plus sign there, but I do need to divide. And last one on this page before you guys go practice. X term moves first. Positive changes to minus. And make sure you line it up with the other x term. If you line it up with the 12, if you write it under the wrong number, you're going to end up making a mistake. 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay. And last step is to divide. 1 divided by 6 stays as 1/6. 12 divided by 6 gives us 2. And that is all. I'm going to let you guys go on and practice now.